Hey Tim, how you doing? Just want to check on the sound and everything. Sound working okay? Hey Brian, you guys can is the sound all right? Okay, great. Oh, well, I I tell you coming up with I was thinking, well, I haven't really had any bad deals, and I realized I have. Sometimes a bad deal is when you get a watch that you have a reason for getting it, but you're a little too anxious to get it. And so you end up with something that you really wish you hadn't have gotten, or you got a bad deal on, or sometimes you buy a watch and it turns out to be a big lemon. Um, I haven't had that happen yet. I've had some watches that have issues, but nothing, nothing that can't be fixed. So anyhow, so let me start off with the one of the things that happened. Um, when I first started collecting watches, I got it into my head that what I really wanted was the Holy Trinity. I wanted to get a Patek Philippe, a Vacheron Constantin, and an Audemars Piguet. Well, I got the Patek Philippe. That was the first one I got. I got a Calatrava, and it was just this beautiful little Calatrava. And then I had it. I sent all the information to Switzerland. They had a thing that give you the certificate and so forth about your watch and the history of it. And so anyway, the that was good, and I enjoyed that watch. It was later on, it was just didn't fit with a lot of things, and so I traded it, sold it actually. But still, that was down the road. So then I got the Vacheron Constantin, and I got an overseas. This was the first overseas that they had, and I just loved that watch. I wore it all the time. This was when I was still working. So I'd wear it to work every day, and the funny thing about it is that, when you work at a university, very few people care about your watch at all. So, it was something that I liked a lot and wore. Then during that same period, I somehow ended up getting a Vacheron Constantin 1972. Now, the reason I got the 1972, that's got one of the best watch stories behind it. It was in 1972 that Vacheron Constantin won it's called something like the Pride of Paris, or I forgot what it was, Pride of France. It was this huge award that had never been given to a watch company, and Vacheron Constantin got it, so they came out with a watch almost immediately, which means it was probably already in the works uh, when they got the award and decide to name it after that. Well, that was another watch that I really enjoyed, really liked a lot. It was a little small, but still, in fact, it was a point where I thought, well, I'll get all three of them. There were three three of them that they made. The first one was in 72. The second one, I think, was in '99, and then the third one was in 2013, and then they quit making them. Wonderful watch story. Anyway, so I had, um, Patek Philippe, I had 2 Vacheron Constantins, but I still didn't have an Audemars Piguet. So I started looking for Audemars Piguets just so I could have the Holy Trinity, and I found one at a shop in, New York. And so friend of mine and I went to New York, and we went to this guy, and I saw the watch, and it's this little bitty. It was one of those ones that had a very small dial. I don't know what it was. Now, in fact, when I saw it, it was almost like, gee, that thing looks almost like a woman's watch. It was so small, but it was really everything that the watch, in terms of had been advertised as. I think it was probably a 32 or 34, something like that. But I got it anyway. Now, here's something that interesting happened. When we were at the watch store, there was this great big guy, and he had it was just some kind of Eastern European accent, but was, sort of like a big gruff guy, but a nice big gruff guy, until I said, "Well, would you mind? I'd like to take a look at the back." In fact, at the time, what I did is that I'd have somebody take the back off, and I'd take a picture of it so that I know what I had. And the guy said, "Fine, I'll do that." So he had a watchmaker, I guess, working for him. So he went back into the watchmaker, and then the guy comes after that. He was very abusive. He came out and he said, "Well, what do you need the back off for?" And all of this kind of stuff. I just want to take just so I can see it. No, no, you can't do that. It turned out, I found out later that you needed a special tool for that particular Audemars Piguet. Well, I just figured the guy was sort of a big jerk, and anyway, paid for the watch and took it home with me. And it, the thing about Audemars Piguet is that they're really excellent watches, and this watch kept perfect time and everything else, but I never wore it. I really didn't like it that much. And when I saw it, I didn't like it, but I so much wanted to have the Holy Trinity. I went and I bought it. Well, the way the end of the story, I don't know how to get rid of this thing. I didn't know anything about selling watches. I wasn't sure what to do, and I just wanted some way to get rid of it. And the funny thing is that when I got my 1921, my Vacheron Constantin Historique America in 1921, when um, I got it from, of all places, Joma Shop, alright? And they had one, they were advertising it as $10,000 off, which is brand new. And what it was, this was during the Asian crisis, and apparently a bunch of watches had been sent to Asia, and because of the crackdown that they had on bribery and so forth, they sent it back, and so there was an overstock at the time, and they gave me a heck of a break, and I got it through Joma Shop. And so I asked the guys, I said, "Hey, how about a trade-in?" I said, "Could I get a trade-in on this?" And that was how I was gonna get rid of my Audemars Piguet. Oh, I said, "Oh, yeah, sure." And so I think at the time, I got the thing for about I had bought it for about 5,000. I think they gave me about 2,000 on a trade-in. It was a terrible, terrible deal. So that was my worst, watch experience. I had some other bad ones, but that's my worst one. Okay, how about you guys? Have you made any really bad deals like that? Or things you wish you hadn't have done it, or you did it and you ended up with a watch that wasn't what you thought it was gonna be, or anything like that? So, I'm the only one, right? So, you say, "Sucker." You guys must be smarter than I am, which wouldn't take a lot. I had another one. Well, good, Brian. Rolex. My only Rolex is a 39 millimeter Explorer. I had gone down to an AD in Scarsdale. Scarsdale, I would imagine, had some very nice stuff. Um, it was very nice, and placed me on the list. that meant good luck. Yeah. My Submariner, let's see, Mike, a Submariner bought in 1980, Perspex glass. Okay. Hi, Donald. Hi, Mark. Okay, back to Brian's story. After a while, I bought the one online. The ad called me 2 days later. The AD called me. "Hey, we got it for you." I had had the opposite happen to me, uh, but I had bought a watch, but the AD called me and said the deal's off, and then he called back again and said, "Oh, the deal's back on," and in between time, I'd bought another watch. In fact, that was one of the best deals I'd ever made. Um, so you bought it in 3 times to Rolex, and it was just a lemon in 1996. Oh my god. Not a bad watch story, but bad luck. The AD was great. Yeah, the guy I dealt with was a big jerk. That should have been a fire alarm right there, but, yeah, he's one of these guys that, can go either way. He's sort of a big, gruff, friendly guy or a big, gruff jerk. Hey, James, back in '96, I traded a Rolex Submariner for $1,200 for, Cellini. Well, Cellinis are nice. He was a cop buff. Okay. Mike Wingert, I sold my sub, uh, for 125 quid in 1980 for 250 in 1984 worth what, 1,500 a day? You know, that's that kind of thing. I mean, I I've had the best luck I've had, has really been no fault of my own, right? My bad luck was my fault. There was a difference or bad luck, bad decisions. Oh, 1,500. 15,000, yeah, wow. And that's in, pounds. That's a lot of money. Um, Trying to think. I had another one that just really fried me, and if I had probably been smart, I would have kept the watch, but I ended up trading it. And that was I bought, an El Leroy, uh, and I got it on eBay. They had an auction, and so I thought, "Well, I'll put in a really low bid, and I'd never win it." I don't know what I was thinking, but beautiful watch. Osmio or something like that was the name of it. So, anyway, so I bought this, so I put in a bid and I won naturally. So it was about 9,000, and I thought the watch was worth at least 20,000 at the time and thought I got a great deal. Well, I have a had a friend, used to be a judge on the Grand Prix judge, and so I took it up to him and I said, "Hey, look at my watch." And so he took the back off and said, "Oh, it's an ETA." It was an ETA 7001. Now, before I did that, I had called El Ara, and those guys acted like they didn't know anything. I said, "Well, could you send me a picture of it?" And they sent me this blurry picture that could have been anything, and that was a bad deal. But it's such a beautiful watch. It was solid gold. Um, and so a friend of mine, he said, "Hey, Bill, you wanna trade that for I'll trade it for he had a Christian, Vanderclough, series, which I absolutely love, but the one I got was it was weird. It turned out that one had an ETA movement in it too. It was just, you know, it had an ETA base and then the Tristan Vanderclaw complication for the moon phase, and of course, that's what he's known for. But both of those, some of those things, that was a dumb deal. That was dumb on my part. First of all, I shouldn't have ever bid on something knowing that I wouldn't get it. Sometimes that happens and a good thing came out of it, with my Fabergé. That watch has just been great, and so, Oh, boy, okay. Hey, Michael, how you doing, man? Thomas Thomas is Thomas and Tim are both in their cups. Good to see you both. What are some other things? Let's see what you got. I bought a Mo I got a I got a Moser Swiss Alps. Let me see. Let me study this, Michael. Okay. Um, bought a Moser Swiss Alps with MHC 324 607, thinking it was the same movement as the Henry double hairspring. But it turned out to be a movement that was different. Well, first of all, you're going to get a good movement, so that's the good part about it. Hey, Jill. My first purchase was a Hamilton khaki field king from Joma shop. It arrived with a piece of debris on the dial under the crystal. Jonah shop let me return it with no issues. Well, that speaks really well for Joma shop. I've never had anything bad. Two companies that somebody warned me about, I've never had a problem with. Joma shop. I said, "Oh, if you get it from Joma shop, bad things will happen." That's never happened to me with Joma shop. I've had great luck with them. Um, the other one is, oh, what's it called? Shop Worn. I got just some great watches from Shop Worn. They used to have even better watches. I got my, I think, a Parmigiani hemispheres from them for really great price. They haven't had Parmigianis and H Mosers in years, though. So, those days are gone. But that's good to hear about, Joel, about doing the right thing for you. I had a thing. I bought a watch from, oh, what are they? Let's see, the one in Philadelphia, Berg. What's his name? Govberg. I got it from Govberg, and it arrived, and something was wrong with it. It wasn't working right. There was it was actually for it was for me, but my wife took it because it's more for her, I guess. And it was let's see, Louis Vuitton uh, world timer. And so I said, this thing isn't working right. They fixed it up, sent it back, didn't have a problem with it at all. So that's a good story about Govberg. I had real good luck with them. Yeah, Slim Pickens now is right, Brian. Govberg and Watchbox are one and the same. Yeah, I know. I guess Watchbox is sort of their online arm, and Govberg is, I don't know. I guess they're just, you don't have to, you can get them both, I guess, from different places. Goes to the same company. Um, the only other thing that was, I guess, it wasn't that bad, and this was a German watch with a Jacquet 736 movement that I collect. And I got it through eBay. It went through the authenticator. The authenticator said it worked. Got it in the moon phase. It didn't work. But that one, I didn't care because I like the watch so much, and the moon phase is something I've never had good luck with. I just sort of write it off. I just don't have good luck with moon phases. The authenticator can look at something, and how do you tell if the moon? And you can set the moon phase so everything was working. It looked like I was working, but you can't wait, a month to see if the thing is working right. Yeah, right. Govberg's the brick and mortar. I think a lot of these stores, though, if you go to the Govberg website and you see a watch you want, you can get it from them. And just a little different. Hi, Daniel. Okay, what are some other? Anybody else got some bad watch stories or things that happened to them? I thought they. I don't know. I think my real bad ones are ones I consider bad. Are something knothead that I did. Um, but even the opposite has happened. I did something that probably wasn't the brightest thing in the world and ended up with a really nice watch. Um, which one? I got one of my I think it was my Metropolitan. No, it was either my Metropolitan or my I had a oh, what was it? It was a Daniel Roth um chronograph. And I think I got that through auction. And I got a good deal on it. And but there was this other Daniel Roth I want, and I sold my chronograph. I think after I sold it, it like doubled in price or something, but that's okay. It worked out really well on all the way around, so that wasn't bad. And I was able to get this other Daniel Roth I really wanted. Paper pressure to buy a piece may not have peer pressure. Boy, Daniel, that is so true. Hey, Kaz, how you doing, man? Um, yeah, that there's certain peer pressures. I tell you, once you've been collecting watches for a while, I think a lot of times you realize a lot of the peers aren't the sharpest pencils in the box, so to speak. I'd say there was a guy, what did he say? He said, "Oh yeah, you can tell a cheap watch, they have a lower frequency." Jesus Christ. Where do these people come up with this stuff? There was this other guy who announced that you better not get an FP Journe, they'll lose 75% of their value. It was like, what are they talking? Where did they make this stuff up? I mean, they couldn't know anything that way, and this becomes difficult, especially for or like we were talking this morning about. We were talking about the warnings for beginners, and it's geez, peer pressure though can really be something on that. I think, to some extent, we're all responsible for being the peers that have the pressure on. We see a watch that we like, and we tell, "Oh boy, get that watch. That's a really good price." And you know, somebody's sitting there. Well, I don't know if I like it that much. Ah, yeah, go ahead and get it. That was like we become the peers. Yeah, they make a lot of stuff up, Brian. I don't know. Yeah, that's true, Kaz. Yeah, you do. Kaz, you're right. You got to have there's something. This is funny. Nobody ever pressured me to get a Fabergé ever. They nobody ever came along and said, "Get a Fabergé, Bill. You'll be happy." But it's one of the most fun watches I have, and I don't know why. I do like it. I This is one of those things. Mainly because I know it's in the movement, even though I can't see it. It's weird. Hey, Mr. Cunningham, Peter, right? I've been pretty lucky. A few times purchases have not completed at last moment, which was obviously disappointing. Or trying on a dream watch, only realized that it was worse in reality. That's Peter. That happened to me once, at least, probably more than once, but one I remember. I still like the watch. I really, really like Lawrence, Perrier watches. And I was in New York at, Cellini's trying them on, and they just felt they're light as a feather, at least the ones I tried on. And, they just they weren't the kind of watch I wanted, even though I look at them today and say, "God, those are gorgeous watches." The ones I was looking at were steel, and that could have been part of it. Hey there, a bunch of M's. I bought a Speedmaster Moonwatch from an AD with a 25% discount in 2017. Still ended up losing 50% when I went to sell it a year later. Huh, huh. Well, that's an unusual story. If you got a good Moonwatch, um, I don't know how the pricing is on that. Okay, Thomas, thank you for that information. Paul, okay, Paul. Thanks. I think a lot of collectors buy into marketing hype and social media influencers. But as they become more educated, they learn how to become more discerning with what they collect. That's true. I think that's important. This is why, um, if anybody asks me about it, they say, "Oh, what about this watch?" I tell 'em, do the research. Uh, if you run to somebody, they have a watch, they really like it, and so you talk to them about it, and you say, "Well, I've had really good luck with this watch, and so, yeah, go ahead and get it." Yeah, something like that's one thing. Uh, or this is another thing that can happen, Michael, what you say is absolutely right, though, but sometimes, and I've seen this, I've got from a dealer. I was warned off of a dealer, and it turned out to be just a great deal. It really worked out well. Um, so, you know, hey, Mark. Mark, I don't think there's anybody. I don't think there's anybody who's going to believe that. uh, yeah, that is an interesting story, Thomas. I bought a Speedmaster Moonwatch. Wait, you already said that. That was same one. By the way, I really like your second watch. Which one's that, Kaz? Hi, Emery. Thanks, man. I got to show you this. Um, this stand. This is a big hunk of steel or something for the base of this, and then it's a little watch display thing. Um, this was sent to me, and to write a review on it, and it's great. I mean, it was like, it's heavy, but I don't, if you want to have a special stand for a special watch, I have it, and I just sort of keep it here in my workbench, and okay, on the second one, that's we're working on that one. I hope it's going along. Um, I'm William Gabus watches. I don't. Everyone got all their dates changed. I just finished. Okay, that was for watches turning to July 1st. They'd have to go from June 20th. Okay. I if you have one of the Parmigianis from earlier 2000s, from the 2000s to 2010s, a lot of them on the first of the month, they have a big red one. Both of mine do. My Hemispheres and my Kalpa both have a big red one when at the beginning of the month. I had to put one up there today on High Horology Lounge. Okay, who else has got a good story about, what was I thinking? The worst watch deal you ever made. Anyway, well, look, guys, um, I guess my time is up. But the usual help that I get from the rancher is frying pan time. Okay. Um, so anyway, yeah, happy accidents are even better. Anyhow, guys, I gotta run, and happy July for those of us in the U.S. Happy July 4th that's coming up, and the anyway, let's see you guys next week. Take care.